Jane's on her way in.
Okay. Yeah, right. Or
Good evening.
that's yours over there. Make sure yours is on.
You don't want me to share?
Knock yourself out. A while ago.
No, just for you for the training. Did they let people out over the training?
Uh-huh.
They do?
They're going to increase the age on pilots. Still, they're going to keep flying.
Oh, really? Been flying for a long time. Oh, Carrie is here. I didn't see her. Okay, everybody's here, so,
Yes.
all right, I'd like to call the meeting to order, Coventry zoning board of review. And, I don't know if I am. I'd like to point out the fire exits are to your rear. These exits here take you into the building, so only fire exits are to your rear. Do I have an approval of the, oh no, let me do a roll call, please.
Bob Crow,
Yeah.
Keith Cludier,
Here.
Russ Lockley,
Present.
Ed Adionai.
Here.
Mike New.
Here.
Ross Pelletier.
Yeah. Okay, we have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have everybody present from last month, so we can vote on those applications. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so, all right. Now I also need approval of the minutes of July 6th, 2022 meeting.
Chairman, make a motion and we accept the minutes as presented, placed on file.
Okay, motion made, and is it seconded?
Second.
Seconded by Keith, motion made by Russ. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may interject, the ratification for the Gail McHugh Horn and Cauldron Church of the Earth will be continued to September 7th at 7 PM.
Which one's this?
The ratification of Horn and Cauldron Church of the Earth.
Okay, thank you. So that'll be continued to next month,
September 7th.
September 6th. Okay. All right. So if anybody's here for that ratification, the next ratification we have is of Mr. Perry, application 3, Assessors Plot Map 323, Lot 189, 20 Allison Avenue, Zone R3. The applicant is seeking a special use permit, dimensional variance to construct a 14 by 24 garage, 5 feet from the striped property line where 14 feet is required. That was approved by the board last month. So do I have a motion to accept the ratification of this application?
So moved.
Second it.
All right, Keith made the motion, seconded by Russ. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. All right, next application is, applicant is, how do you pronounce that last name?
Nearly.
Spaniel. Okay, assessors plot map 3, 310 lot 174.1, 1928 Victory Highway. Applicant seeking a special use permit and dimensional variance to construct a 30 by 26 in-law, 59 feet from the property line where 90 feet is required. Application was also approved and to be ratified tonight by, who'd like to make the ratification approval?
So moved.
All right,
Second.
by Russ, by Keith, seconded. All those that say aye.
Aye.
All right, nays? Ayes have it. Okay. Church of St. Vincent de Paul. Okay, Assessors Plot Map 55, Lot 22, 2 St. Vincent de Paul Street, Zone Point. I'm going to seek a special use permit to operate in an adult daycare in an existing former school building. Okay, that application was also approved. I need a ratification. Do I have a motion to ratify?
Motion to ratify.
Okay, made by Russ, seconded by,
Ed.
Ed. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Nays? Ayes have it. Next application was owner applicant Guy Gill, Assessors Plot Map 33, Lot 6, 13-57, 57 Hill Farm Campground. Applicant is seeking a special use permit to construct an addition 6 feet to an already existing deck. Do I have a
Motion to ratify.
motion to ratify by Mike,
Second.
seconded by
Everybody.
everybody, right? Eddie, I'm gonna pick Eddie to ratify. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, owner applicant, next one is, any nays on that last one? Is there any nays? No nays. Okay, so that's approved. Lisa Plouffe, Assessors Plot Map 18, Lot 62, 54 Wisteria Drive. Applicant seeking a special use permit to construct an in-law apartment that will be 12 feet from the side property lot where 20 feet required. The applicant is also requesting 35% lot coverage with 20% of the space. Okay, this one here, okay, we approved the, not the special use permit, to construct the in-law apartment, but the, side setbacks. And also the 35% lot coverage, where 20% is allowed.
Motion to ratify.
Okay, that was approved, and we have a motion to ratify.
Second.
I have a second. Eddie made a second. Russ made the first. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. Okay. Our next one is Gail Mahoney, Assessors Plot Map 101, 5001, 0 Chase Road. Okay, applicant is seeking the renewal of a special use permit to construct a playground and parking lot to be used for a proposed daycare. Okay, this one here was a difficult one. This has been in front of us a couple of, at least once. And the only thing that's in the town of Coventry, I believe, is part of the parking lot. Am I correct on that?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. So technically, that's all we're approving. We're not approving entrance to it or the construction of. So that was also approved. And do I have a motion to ratify this?
So moved.
By
Seconded.
Keith, aye, seconded by Russ. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. Next one is Eric Ferguson, Assessors Plot Map 63, Lot 69, 51 Black Rock Road, Zone Dot 20. Application is seeking a dimensional variance 5 feet from the property line where 10 feet is required dimensional relief for lot coverage. Okay, this was on a swimming pool area, which was already there. So this was approved, and do I have a
Motion to ratify?
motion to ratify made by Mike, seconded by Ed? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Okay. Old business. We have the American Tree Service, Inc. Okay. Is the applicant here seeking a special use permit to use a existing barn to store trucks, equipment, wood associated with the residential tree trimming and removal company? Okay. Yes.
Our office has a conflict with this, and we not sit as Joanne Achille is your counsel for this, and she could not make it tonight. Never heard back from her. So we're gonna have to continue this to the next agenda, to the September meeting, because we need to have a lawyer here to count.
I don't disagree. I agree with you 100%. How does the rest of the board feel? I'm sorry, sir. We should have gave you notice ahead of time, but unfortunately, it wasn't in the cards. I don't know what else to tell you.
Sure. So, Mr. Chairman, this is a continued noticed hearing. So whatever the reason, we do need to continue it to a date and time certain to avoid renotice costs and expenses to my client. So if I could have a date, time, and location certain.
The date would be September 7th, 2022 at 7 PM.
Thank you.
So we need to make a vote to continue this to the September 7th.
You understand?
I make a motion, we continue this to the September 7th meeting, 2022.
Yes.
No, that'd be sticking them. I agree. September 7th.
Yes.
Does anybody have any conflicts with that date? Okay, is that okay with you, sir?
Yes, as soon as possible.
As soon as possible, okay. Okay,
We didn't get a second and the motion hasn't been
Seconded.
finished.
okay, motion's made and now it's been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Thank you very much
Welcome.
for your patience. Okay, the next one we have is Bamford Lake Property, Robert and Kathleen Marco. Census plot map 324 lot 20-003-00.73, 38 Lower Lane. Applicant is seeking a special use permit to remove the existing garage and install a 40 by 16 by 2 gravel pad and a cement block retaining. Okay, this here, we continued it, and I'm gonna be honest with you, the map we got from Mr. Anderson is absolutely terrible. Now, did we able to obtain another map?
This afternoon, John and I went through several of the files. We couldn't find anything related to what we believe you were requesting as far as planning was considered. We did find what was labeled as an approved map, and a couple of other documents, and I had emailed you probably about 2:00 this afternoon.
Okay, unfortunately, I wasn't in the office.
In the meantime, if that's not sufficient, I have the town's GIS map up, if that's helpful, to put it in context as to where the site is in relation to the rest of the campground.
But this whole campground, I realize this, only this one site, and there's 4 individuals. But we need to know exactly what we're voting on, whether we're next to, because this campsite was all chopped up. From what I understood. See, I don't even know how it works. And we're asked to vote on to approve this, and we don't even know what other than, yes, I agree, he just wants to put a camper on and knock down a house, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what's in front of us technically is the whole campground, because that's what is being voted on.
Right, so it is one parcel. You're correct
Exactly.
in that.
It's
So
one parcel.
I think maybe the best option would be, for Mr. Marco, could you point out where
Could
your
you,
house
make
is?
that larger?
Sure.
Okay, now that yellow line you just showed, is that what the campground is and is not?
This is all the original campground. When you
Don't
come
touch the
down
screen.
Lorry Lane, all of this was the original campground. There used to be a big field up here.
Correct.
That the cows used to grow hay, and they would come in, the tractor would come in, they would take it out. Then when Banford took over, whatever they did, they got this approved, and they have like year-round campers in here. They're all trailers, some of them are fifth wheel trailers. So Tommy Forcier is here. Banford owns this house, which Warwick Caldwell has. I'm sorry, Laurie's house is here. This is Dominic's house. Mike Dubas has.
All right, when you say Laurie's house,
And my
that,
site is right there.
okay, Laurie's house is not part of the campground.
No, because Laurie's house is owned by Banford. Banford
Laurie's house owns Laurie's house,
Laurie's house. Banford-
but that's not part of the campground.
Oh, originally it was, because Tom McPeak used to own this house. Then Laurie, being a Caldwell, when the Caldwells owned that property, that was her house. Because she stays up here in the wintertime, in this other house that Banford owned.
So in other words,
So my house is basically right here. So, Mike Dubas has a fifth wheel camper. My house is here. You can't see it because of the pine tree, but those pine trees are gone. Then there's another fifth wheel here. Then there's another house right here, which, Don.
Now, I'm looking at that other yellow line,
This one here?
yes, what's
This
that?
is, Sue Powell.
And that's part of the campground?
No,
No.
that was because she married Keith Powell, and that was her house.
When the Banfords took over the property, they carved out a couple of things. So that one that we're talking about, Sue's, she owns that piece of property. But all those other.
But how does Sue get access?
Right here,
Yeah.
Laurie Lane.
Lori Lane.
Laurie Lane.
No, who owns Laurie Lane?
I'm not sure if it's a town road.
It's labeled as a private road. So I know Tommy owns it. down-
Okay, I'm sorry, I gotta swear you,
Okay.
I gotta swear you both in.
Yeah.
Can you please give your full name and address?
Kathleen Martha, 34 Medieval Way, West Florida.
Robert Marco, 34 Medieval Way, West Warwick.
Okay, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in front of this board?
I do.
I thank you both. Okay, so you don't know who owns the right of way or the road? Does the town know?
So the right of way is located on the property. So one of it is owned by, a portion of it is owned by this lot 20.3, the campground, and then the other portion of it continues on by this lot 22 here. And then it continues out to, what's this road here? Peckham
Neither
Lane.
one of them are public roads. They're all private.
Correct.
They share a right of way as the people that live there and the campgrounds itself.
Much like,
I
And
understand.
they had to make this wall bigger here. Tommy did to allow, in case fire trucks had to come in there. He had to widen that driveway. He had two stone walls on either side, and he made them wider. And Banford has since put a right of way through here also, through this piece of land right here that he's opened up, so they have to get in. So that way he doesn't use this, he can get in from this piece of partial into these houses where we are.
All right, so he doesn't really need to use that.
No, he doesn't, Banford doesn't use this road at all. They use this, they come up this way. If they're coming from the campground, they come up this way. And if he has to get into this field, he has a right of way there's, right here is a stone wall that goes across. It's been there for beginning of the time. And he opened it up, so he has access to get onto Laurie Lane and into this access of this camp. And there's another road here where he can come out also onto Peckham Lane.
There is another entrance further
Further down,
up that
if you wanna
road.
make it small. So here's Laurie Lane. Laurie Lane comes all the way around. And
But you don't need Lori Lane, right, to go to your house?
I use Laurie Lane. I've used Laurie Lane since,
Because you want to, but you,
I don't have to. I can come in this way. I can come
Yeah.
down through here and come into that way if I really want to.
all right, so you have a right of way within the campground, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
All right, that's what I'm trying to ask. Okay. So,
Does that help?
yes,
When I took a ride by, I went up Peckham Lane further and looped
It
in.
loops around.
Exactly. Went by the check-in place at the entrance.
It
of
kind
the
of
main
comes
entrance of
around
the
right
campground.
here. It comes around like this. There's a little fork in the road
Yeah.
where you can go right along the water. These are all campers down here, all, and this road kind of comes around and comes back up the hill where the main house was.
Right,
Or you can go down this way. This way goes right down into the campground.
to that.
Here's
window
where
of
the
the campground.
campground is.
Yeah.
But we're over here though. We're like a little separate, little away from the red, even though we're part of the campground, we're kind of away from the campground.
So there is access to
as long as there is
without
access.
going through that other.
Yeah, there is
Because I have no right to let you go through somebody else's property.
No, he actually has 3 right of ways to get to the
Yeah.
property. Laurie Lane, then through Blue Herring, through the field, and you can actually go around the backside.
I can go down this way too. I can come down this way, around here, and come in this way also.
All right, now, my next question is, since the zoning requires how many acres for a campground?
I don't have that number off the top of my head.
All right, what I'm leading to is, technically, we have 2 campgrounds here, correct?
No, one campground.
Well, what about all these other camps?
They're all part of Banford.
No, not the ones that aren't part of Banford.
There's no camps that aren't part of Banford.
Oh, there is none?
No, this is owned by Carlo. This is
Yeah.
owned by Sue.
Yeah,
That's a whole separate partial. And Tommy Fossier is all this over here. That he's all, and he has a little piece of land in here that is his also. But all the rest of it,
does he have camps on his property?
no. No.
Tommy?
Or how about underneath the bridge? There's a mobile home right underneath the
He
bridge.
owns his property.
That's what I'm trying to figure
That's
out.
not part of the campground.
That's not part of the campground.
That's not part of the campground.
No.
But-
That's his own.
What I'm asking the attorney is, it's okay to just have mobile homes in there and rent them out, or people
Well,
that
then-
camp? No, this has nothing to do with you.
I believe this is a non-conforming pre-existing use, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it may be not performing, but if it belonged to the campground before and then it got pulled out, I'm trying to figure out what we're doing.
I don't understand. What do you
Okay,
mean If it got pulled out,
when they sold the property, supposedly,
right, but the use runs with the land.
they use what?
The use runs with the land. If it was non-conforming and sold, it continues to be non,
That's what I needed to know. Okay, it was, the use runs with the land.
right?
Okay,
So they didn't abandon any of these rights to have this campground and rent out these sites or do whatever,
so they can maintain that
right, as long as they
as a
don't.
separate, on a separate piece of property, away from the campground.
No, it has to be the same piece. It has to be, this is the same piece that was always used this way, correct?
Right, but it's apparently not the same piece, because like you said, they're not part of the campground. What they're doing is they're using them as camps because it was always goes with the use of the land. That's what I'm guessing.
I believe it was always separate.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Originally, the Cowells owned the whole piece.
Yes.
Long time.
Right.
Tommy got married one of the daughters, bought that piece off. When the whole thing was sold to Bamford, Tommy kept his part of it. Sue kept her part of it. The rest is all part of the campground.
Yes, yes.
It has nothing to do with it. Right now, it's just a question of taking down the old building and putting a pad up so you can put it.
Because I don't know what the future of the pond holds.
Yep.
Or the future of Bamford. Well, hypothetically, they want to sell the property. Now I have a house that I'm stuck with.
Mhm.
So that and the house needs repair.
Sure.
And I'm just looking at options and we are part of the campground though. We've always been part of.
You pay something.
lease the land?
We pay, Carol Bamford sends us out, our bill. We pay it. And,
There you go.
Okay, so you do have access on the campground, not through somebody else's property. You do have access.
If I had a camp.
yes, you have to bear with me.
Okay, and so you can bring this camper in on the campground land.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right, that was my biggest question, access and, okay. Now, septic, you have a septic system there?
We just have a tank. With the new trailer, it will be self-contained.
So you'll have, just like a regular campground, the blue
They'll have
tank.
somebody come around, pump it out.
Oh, have somebody come around.
They have somebody down who Camp Yo that does that. That comes around, pumps everybody's trailer.
Okay. All right. So is that okay, not legal?
Yeah, it's not a permanent structure. It is.
Okay, all right. I went down there and it looks like it's gonna be an improvement, to tell you the truth. It's gonna make the place look nicer with your new camper there. So I have no complaints about it, and I'm glad. I just wanted to justify the access and everything else. Does anybody else have any questions on this application? Okay, I suggest if you take a seat, I'd like to see if there's anybody here that would like to speak on this application or have any questions on the application or anything at all on the application. Okay, is there anybody online that would like to speak on the application?
You could ask them just to raise their hand.
Sorry?
Could you just ask them to raise their hand if they want to speak?
Yes. Can anybody, if has a question on it, please raise their hand on this application or anything at all? Okay, we have nobody. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we vote on this tonight.
Second,
I agree. Motion is made and seconded. All of those approved, say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. Okay, I'll just start off with a roll call vote. Mike New, how do you vote?
Before you vote on this, you may want to attach some conditions to this special use permit because he's taking what was a grandfathered house, right? And he's reducing it to a cement pad. So you want to make sure that this is not a permanent, that he doesn't park his camper there year round. Because then it becomes like a home.
he's probably going to leave it there. He's probably not going to stay there in the winter.
Right. You can't reside there year round because then you get into the problem where he's living in a house that's being serviced by being pumped out. And this is a common problem with campgrounds throughout.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So if you say I'm fine with you tearing this house down, but it's now going to be a campsite, not a residence, because it's not going to have an OWTS.
Are you okay with that?
Yes, the campground goes from May 1st until October 1st. That is the condition of our lease with the camper.
Okay.
We go down and check on the house during the winter, but there's nobody there's nobody there.
Okay,
The campground basically shuts down.
all right.
Shut the power off, right?
So your decision should reflect that.
Subject to
Just say it's with the restriction that it's to be occupied only
only during the summer months,
May 1 to October 1.
Yes,
May 1 to
Yeah.
October.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that would be, if you approve it, that would be the stipulation. Mike, do you approve that with stipulation?
Approved with stipulations.
Keith,
I approve with the stipulations.
Russ?
What are the stipulations, Chairman?
Approved with stipulations.
Okay. I also approve with stipulation. Ed?
Cannot live in it after October, but it's allowed that they can leave the camper there.
Right.
It's not to be on.
Not to be on.
Not to be honest. Thank you very much for correcting me. Okay. Okay, the
Mr.
application is
Chairman, I make a
approved.
motion to approve this application.
We just voted on it.
You sure? We're all set.
Okay.
All set.
All set. Okay. Next application is. I'm having a hard time. I got new glasses here. Michael Archambault, 5-3, Census Plot Map 315, Lot 73, 5337, Flat River Road, Zone R5. Applicant is seeking a dimensional variance to construct a 12 by 36 by 10 barn, 6 feet from the property line where 30 feet is required. Okay, I went down there and took a look at this myself today. And the gentleman does have a nice, neat, clean place. But I could not come up with a single reason why this should be only 6 feet from the property line. He's got plenty of room to put this around the whole place. I don't see where.
Chairman Crowe, you may want to see if he's even here tonight. He's not.
Please.
Yeah. Is he here? He should come up.
Yep, if he's here. Gentlemen, please step up to the podium. I'm going to give you a full name and address.
Michael Archambault, 5337 Flat River Road, Green, Rhode Island.
Okay, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth in front of this board?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As you realize, when I spoke to you today, I went down, looked at it. You do have a beautiful home, and we kept it nice and neat. I had the impression just the opposite. I thought, I went down there. Everything is organized, quality. You do have a lot of sheds. That I can't deny. And I think we got pictures of the sheds, but there's also storage trailers, and there's already an existing. And what I'm saying is, I went down there and looked at what this is, and you have plenty of room to put this someplace else other than 6 feet on the property line. There's plenty of room to move this, and I don't know how anybody else feels.
Isn't there a pad there already?
Please?
Was there a pad already poured?
He already poured the pad. Yep, he's already got the framing up.
So that's why he wants to put it in that location.
Well,
The reason I wanted to put it there, I have degenerative disc disease. I have 5 discs fused in my neck and lower back. I'm 51 years old. I am disabled. It's never getting any better. I use a wheelchair sometimes, and it's all coincided right there with my driveway and the deck that wraps around my house. So it's convenient. I get a bad back. It's never getting any better.
okay,
That's where I'm at this point.
all right, I don't disagree with you. Any other questions of this applicant?
You need all them outbuildings?
No, sir, not if I have a Harley Davidson, I have a couple ATVs. You can't keep them outside. They get rusty.
I understand.
I need a building, a structure I can lock them up, put them in.
Oh.
I'm a carpenter by trade. Again, I'm disabled. I have tools for a carpenter, ladders, staging. You get a lot of stuff.
I get it, yeah. Well,
I don't want my
you're
stuff
looking for some
outside.
relief. You're in the envelope of the setback.
Yes.
The whole structure. That's 12 by 36 is what, like 432 square feet, roughly.
I don't have a
I
garage.
would you be amenable to reducing the footprint of the outbuildings by that amount? If we were to approve this?
I could, yes.
Okay.
I have several sheds. They were, I think I told you guys last time, I had a skid steer. I sold it. I'm downsizing. I had a bad body. I'm trying to get my house and my yard so I can enjoy the rest of my life. So I pushed the skid steer. I pushed the little shed down to the corner of the yard. I didn't think it was bothering anyone. No one ever came to me and said, "Hey, Mike, this is bothering me. Oh my God, I can't live with this." I'm an easygoing guy. I would have moved it the next day.
Right, we heard from the abutter, and they were.
We used to have good rapport.
Yeah.
My chickens went in his yard, the dog went in my yard, I put a fence up. Well, we had words shortly after that. I believe that's why this is all coming up like this. My yard, I take great care of it. Matter of fact, I've been there 16 years and there was nothing but woods all the way back. So whatever you saw today, sir, that was all done within the last couple of years.
It looks very nice.
I busted my butt over there. And then to tell me that I have oil drums and stuff stacked all over the place, he was totally wrong. You saw it today.
Yes. Thank you. All right, would you take a seat, please? And I'll see if anybody else wants to speak on this application. Is anybody here like to speak on this application? Please come up to the podium. Give your full name and address.
Ryan Lepre, 5325 Flat River Road, Green, Rhode Island.
You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, in front of this board?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what would you like to let us know?
I don't know. I mean, you said you saw it for yourself today. Unfortunately, that's 4 weeks after. I was hoping you guys would see it. He's had an army over there cleaning up. So, I mean,
Please,
Sorry.
you're gonna address it, you address it to the state.
I'm sorry. So he's had an army over there cleaning up. Yeah, boy, I tell you what, I have to give it to him. It does look a lot better. The trash, the wheels, the tires, all that stuff. Most of it's been pushed to the other side, but a lot of it has been cleaned up. I'm thankful for that. That was never my main issue because in the summer, hell, there's trees and heck, I'm not home half the time. So, I've never really been there to pick on somebody on how they really want to use their property. A little concerned about my water, but nonetheless, he cleaned it up. Awesome. That's one thing off my back. This whole talk, I hope you guys hearing this disabled talk. Yet he's got ATVs and a Harley and he's got snowmobiles and he's doing stuff. I mean, you're telling me to swear, right? That I'm telling the truth, the whole truth, So, I mean, it's a little odd. He's saying he's disabled, but he's giving you this whole sob story that isn't really following the whole spiel here. He's in a wheelchair, but then he had a back brace the last time. Now he walked up fine. His gait was fine as he was walking. I mean, let's be honest, because that's what I'm trying to do. I heard what you had said. You said, would we be able to, or would he be okay if he got rid of this? I'm not, I just don't get, I think you had said, why does this have to be built when the amount of property that we have? Why does this have to be built 6 feet from my property? And then, as he had said, the sheds and everything being pushed against my property, that was, whether that was him just doing it to push it out of the way, he wanted his area clear. Still, this is where, as a homeowner, you got to go and you got to think, on my property, I do have some stuff that I've built and put and different things, and everything is away from my neighbor's property. I set it up. I also would go to my neighbor and talk to them. I wouldn't do it and then expect them to come ask me if, or tell me if it's okay or not. That's just not how I do business. It's also not how you're supposed to do it, as far as I understand. That's why we have these ordinances. I'm just saying my piece here. I feel like this ordinance is here for a reason. I don't know why we would break it. I don't know why, with the amount of property he has, that it has to be 6 feet from mine when he could put it anywhere. Oh, you were there. You saw it. It does look good now. I mean, better now, his property. And he could put that anywhere. I don't care that he already laid the cement. He shouldn't have done that. I wouldn't do that. Oh, he laid the cement. I feel bad for you. I don't. Nobody seems to feel bad for me. I'm not, in general, in my life while I'm working, I don't look for people to feel bad for me. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm just looking to follow the rules. That's what I do every day.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate you, your.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak on this application? Is there anybody online who wants to speak on this application? Okay, is there any further questions from the board? I still, my opinion is, I cannot find a reason for letting this go 6 feet. I mean, I really, I don't see, I mean, he has plenty of room to put this someplace else. And I don't believe, my opinion is there is no reason for this being 6 feet away from the property line when he has plenty of room to put this someplace else. And that's correct. Yes, he has poured a slab there. He can illegally. Yes, illegally. And he's a carpenter by trade, as he gave testimony of, and so he knows the building permit is required. So any other further discussion from the board?
I agree.
I agree with you, too.
I agree.
Okay. I'd like to have a motion to vote on this tonight.
So moved.
Second.
Mike made the motion. Russ, seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Okay, Mike, I'm gonna start off with you down there again. How do you vote on this application?
Not to approve.
You reject. Okay, Keith?
Reject.
Reject.
Chair rejects. Reject. Ed? Okay, application rejected as presented. Okay, next one is Wayne DeRose. 20 York Drive. Did we already have this in front of us?
You received the application last month, but because the applicant didn't appear in front of the planning commission for a recommendation, it had to be continued over to this month.
Okay,
So though it's old business, you have yet to hear the application.
all right, thank you. All right, can you please lead the application into the record?
Owner applicant is Dwayne Eldris Roges. The location is AP 22 lot 2020 York Drive. The zone is R20. Applicant is seeking a special use permit and dimensional variance to construct a 24 by 24 by 22 attached garage. The addition will be 13 feet from the side property line where 15 feet is required and 20 feet from the front property line where 25 feet is required.
Thank you. Okay, is the applicant here? Okay, please give your full name and address.
Dwayne Alderoja, 20 York Drive, Coventry.
Okay, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth in front of this board?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Would you please, in your own words, explain what you'd like to do?
Well, I'm not sure if you man up there, but I'm gonna be adding a second floor to my existing one floor ranch. I changed my one car garage to a kitchen. I'm just gonna open up the existing kitchen and living room to one living space. Add 2-car garage on the right side of the house and put a farmer's porch on the front. Which the second floor will include 2 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms. Three.
Yeah. So you're adding in.
I'm adding 3 to the second floor and I'll have 2 on the first floor.
Space.
Oh, are you gonna update the septic?
So I was speaking with somebody already, since I was here last week, talking to the other board members, and the person I talked to said I should come here first, make sure this is all approved first. I can go forward and have the dig test done, and he recommended me to see, I think it was Ken Cole as a septic designer. Bill Rice was the man I've been talking to. And he told me to go get this approved first, then call him, we'll talk to Ken Cole, see what we can do for the septic dig test. Because wouldn't be worth my time going forward if I can't have a septic tank or the septic stuff done. I would just have to just do what I have to do with my house and move. So,
Are you having?
yes.
How many bedrooms do you have now?
3.
And you're gonna add 2 more.
Well, I'm putting 3 upstairs, so I'm gonna keep 2 on the existing floor.
But if you have 3 and you're only gonna get 5, you're only adding 2 bedrooms technically.
Yes,
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
And
I'm
but
removing
your
one
septic system right
downstairs.
now is designed for 3-bedroom.
Correct.
Bedroom house. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, I already investigated that also.
So it has to be redesigned for 5 bedrooms.
Correct. Because originally I spoke to, I'm sure I guess it's Glenn Skirka, or whoever, he designed it and put it in the yard before I moved there about 10 years ago. And I spoke to him and got some recommendations. Said it was possible, so that's why I went forward and get a preliminary design to bring in front of the board.
What's the reasoning?
I need more bedrooms for my children.
Okay.
5 years ago, I ended up with twin boys, and I have 3 children in my house, and my wife. And sometimes my in-laws, they come and watch the kids, so we're just an extra room since we were gonna add the 2nd floor, if somebody wanted to stay over.
Makes sense.
Could be an office, could be anything, but it was already currently a bedroom, so.
So you're gonna have to put a whole 2nd floor on
Correct.
and plus extend out for the new garage.
Well, we were extending out because I was gonna put an entrance to the garage on the farmer's porch. Because I have no entrance from the garage going into the house.
That's why you shifted.
But you're putting the kitchen over an existing garage, correct? And so you're gonna add on a 2-car garage.
Correct.
Okay, so,
So I guess my property was non-conforming because of the year it was built. I have one sideline that's 10 feet off. On the garage side currently is 10 feet off my neighbor's property. And I have an overhang on the existing garage that is 20 feet off and I figured it was no different currently what I already had,
so the 2-car garage is only gonna be 10 feet off the property line, 13 feet, where 20 feet's required,
15.
15.
So you got 2
So he's only got 2 feet.
and 5 on the other way.
Well, he's not doing nothing the other way.
5 in the front. Yeah, no, 20. He's got 20 where 25 is sorry.
Oh, okay, correct. Covered porch. Right.
Yeah, so because I have an existing overhang that was built on the house that is 20 feet off the property. That's why the designer built it that way, thinking, I guess.
It's almost the same footprint.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing here is that EM's gonna approve this.
Subject to DM's approval.
Yeah,
That'll be.
Is the height of it gonna be a problem at all?
20 feet.
Right, so the height of, this is all the main dwelling because the garage is attached. So the height for any residential structure, the maximum height is 35 feet. So he won't even
Okay.
come close.
So he's good on the height.
That's all I got.
I got no complaints on the front. And only being 2 feet off on the sidewalk. I don't have a problem with that either. I think he's gonna improve the area.
Sure.
And I think he's gonna spend a bundle of money.
I have other people in the neighborhood I spoke to about it, and they have similar thoughts about their homes too, so they may be improving their homes based on what I'm doing also.
That's good. Do any other board members have any questions for this individual?
straightforward.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to take a seat, sir.
Okay.
Is anybody here like to speak on this application? Just have a question for or against it or anything else? Okay, now let's see if there's anybody online that would like to speak on this application.
Raise the hand.
Or raise their hand or do something. No, okay. Do I have a motion to vote on this
So
tonight?
moved.
Okay, well, Russ made it. All right, seconded by Keith. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. Okay, Mike, I'm gonna start off with you again.
Approved.
we approve with the stipulation that it has to be a DEM approval on the septic system. That's correct?
Yes.
Keith,
I approve with the stipulation.
with the stipulation. Ross,
Approval stipulation.
Rob,
With stipulations.
Eddie, I also approve the stipulation. Okay,
Good luck.
yes,
Under new business, I have the owner DG Holding LLC. Applicant is Dimitri Gelfand. Location is AP 29 lot 21903 Tyoke Avenue. Zone is general business. Applicant is seeking a special use permit to convert an existing office suite into a residential apartment. The residential apartment will be located on the second floor of the building with an existing commercial use below.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the housekeeping matter, if I can get in my notes. Landry, 1035 Main Street, Collins, Rhode Island, representing Dr. Dimitri Gelfand, right here to my right. He's had a dentistry practice on Tyoke Avenue, known as Coventry Family Dental. He's been there for many years. I keep saying several, but time goes on, many years. And what he wants to do is simply change what is already existing square apartment.
Mr. Blaine, you're going to give testimony also,
I've got a good question. I will question him, and he will give testimony if you like.
so would you like me to swear you in also?
Sure.
Okay, and your full name, sir?
Dimitri Gelfand.
Okay, please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in front of this board? Okay, and your address, sir, is?
Home address?
Yes.
60 Rumstick Road, Barrington, Rhode Island.
Okay,
I'm sorry, what is the? Oh, Rumstick.
okay, continue, sir.
I'm very sorry. Well, all he would like to do is convert what is already an existing space of 750 square feet, which is now an office, into a living space, a residential space. And where is that office space located, Dr. Gelfand? It's on the second floor of your existing building, is that correct? Yes. And how big is that? It's about 750 square feet. Okay. Is it currently leased? No, it's vacant. It's vacant. And is there access to that office? It's a separate entrance from the central exit as well, correct? Yes. As far as the change to the building itself, are there any contemplated changes to the building as it exists, as it is seen on Tyoke Avenue? None whatsoever. Are you changing any of the parking area in any manner whatsoever? No. Are you adding or subtracting to trash, pickup and delivery or anything? Are you changing any of that as currently in existence now? No. Okay. So nothing has changed. As far as the utilities, I know that the planning board had asked about this. Right now, are there separate gas and electric utilities? Separate gas service, but it's joint electric. And are you planning on separating those services? Yes. And you'll make that upgrade then if it's necessary, correct? Absolutely. And that's what's according to code, and as you'll be told by your contractor and or electrician and or gas meter person. By all means. So the only change again to look forward is going to be the inside of that building of that 750 square foot. Correct. And what you're asking for is indeed acceptable under the code by asking for a special use permit. Is that correct? Yes. And once all of these things are approved totally by the board, I will posit to the board that egress to the lot and the existing or proposed structures thereon, with particular reference to automotive and pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow and control, and access in case of fire, emergency, or catastrophe shall be met to its fullest as it is. The off-street parking and loading area is required.
with particular attention to items in the subsection A above, dealing with ingress and egress, and to the economic noise, glare, or odor effects of the special use permit on a structure lot will be as currently exists today, correct? Yes. And trash and storage delivery areas in particular reference to the items in subsection A and B above, which dealt with ingress and egress and on-street parking. Again, no change to there. That's going to use that part of the code. Is that correct? Yes. And utilities, we've already addressed utilities with reference to the locations, availability, and compatibility will only as according to law and is required by the building codes. Is that correct? Yes. Screening and buffering with reference to type, dimensions, and character. I don't think that's applicable now because what exists there is existing there, and then we continue to meet that standard. Correct? Yes. Will there be any change in signage? No. No, because they're not going to need a sign as a resident, correct? So any signs and exterior lighting as it would affect glare or traffic safety, economic effect, or compatibility and harmony with the lots in the zoning district, that's all going to be in conformity because that's the way it exists currently, correct? As far as open space, there's no open space requirement for this particular application. General compatibility with lots in the same or abutting zoning district. You're surrounded by residential in that area, am I correct? Even though you're zoned general business. And the use will not create or result in conditions that will exceed industrial performance standards in Article 7. That's correct. And it's generally compatible with the comprehensive plan that's currently in place in the town of Coventry. And the granting will not result in conditions inimical to the public health, safety, health, and welfare of the general public. Is that correct? Yes. Nothing will change. Matter of fact, anybody walking by there once it's approved will not notice anything different. Okay. I would urge the board to certainly grant this.
Okay. One question I have, the entrance to it, is that the greenish area of the, I guess we have,
On the small photograph I had on the report from the planning board is behind the hedge here, so to speak,
behind
on page 2 of 4.
the right in front.
Of the staff report.
So it's in the front of us. You're connected to the sewers already.
Are you connected? No, you're not connected.
You have bedrooms, you might have one or two. One or two. So.
Just in the chairs.
Compatible.
Well, that used to be a house.
Kind of behind the trees. It did, is what they, yeah.
That went far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is his main entrance, right?
I'm that much older.
Down practice, it was like $30.
That's what it looks like. It's the goal. Turning. Have you checked the septic system? Have it checked or?
Not in the last few years.
Okay, that's something the board would need to
That'd be, again, it'd have to be
make
approved
sure
by
it's.
DM.
What, to change the septic system?
Yes, because we're
No, no, make sure
adding
it's big enough.
technically a bedroom.
It just has to be inspected.
You know what I'm saying? That's something that we have no
Now,
control.
people want to comply with everything else.
What do you have for utilities upstairs now?
We have electric and gas.
Yeah, cool. Electricity and gas.
So you'd be installing a kitchen or something, bath?
Any other apartment.
Okay, so is there a bathroom up there now?
There is.
Okay,
How many rooms are up there?
There are 3 rooms.
How many bedrooms do you plan, how many apartment, how many bedrooms do you plan to?
One or two.
Question on the entrance. Is it the same entrance as your dental practice? No, it's a separate door.
The entrance to the apartment would be on Tioga Avenue proper, and the entrance to the dental practice is from when you go into the parking lot in the back.
Okay, so the dental practice, you come into the back.
correct.
Okay.
That's right, yeah, so I think that's right. So
So this is. Front entrance.
that entrance you see right in the front.
Is there access to the dental practice if someone came in the front?
There is a door there, but that could be closed. Will not just hold up.
You'd have to check with the fire marshal to make sure he's okay with this, since you're putting a residential structure over a commercial structure. make sure that it conforms to the present day fire codes.
Yes, I have that note of fire marshal.
Okay.
Contact the fire marshal.
So that'd be subject to approval, if it's approved, to fire marshal approval.
So septic and the fire safety.
I have one question. How many parking spots are in that parking lot? That's big enough.
It's over 20.
Do you have two sets of egress into the apartment, in and out, back door, front door? The apartment. Mhm.
One.
Only one. Is it,
Actually, no, it would be, there are two. One would be through, the entrance you see on the photos behind the hedge. And the other one is,
That's the main entrance, correct?
yes. Well, for the apartment.
For the apartment.
Yeah. And the other exit would be, I guess, through, a communicating door with the dental practice.
So you'd have to go through the dental practice.
No, you don't. I think you're asking about.
second means of, a second means of egress.
Yeah, there is. But you don't have to go through dental practice to have to be a partner.
Right.
Or you'd have to go through the dental.
No.
No. So you have two complete separate entrances.
Exactly.
So you got another stairway going down,
When you come through the front door, there's a
right,
stairway that goes upstairs.
goes upstairs.
And there's also a door that will lead to the dental practice that's shut.
Right, but I'm trying to figure out the second
The exit?
exit.
The exit would be, instead of going out the front door, you'd have to go down that corridor.
So
So it's the
the
same.
exits aren't remote from each other. They basically use the same set of staircase.
Yes.
Okay. The fire marshal would determine whether that's applicable or not.
Okay, that's what, all right, that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I'm concerned about two means of egress.
Okay.
The sewers do go past that, right? Sewers go past that.
As far as I know,
Only if you,
as far as I know.
because if you get into a problem with EM, you might want to hook up to the sewers. Yeah.
I think he's planning on it sooner or later.
All right, so
What's on the lower level under the apartment? Is that dentist office also? Or lower level underneath the
Yeah,
apartment?
lower level, the whole dental practice.
That's it's all dental practice?
But that's separate from the,
Yeah.
part.
Right.
The apartment, I believe where the apartment would be, that's the original building. And the other one story structure that was added.
okay, I have any further questions from the board?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to take a seat, and I'd like to see if there's anybody here that has any questions on this application.
Thank you.
Is there anybody here have any questions on the application, for, against, or just a regular general question, concern? Okay, nobody in this audience. How about the audience online? Anybody raising a hand or anything at all? Okay, now, if this application would be approved, it'd be subject to septic, a DEM approval,
Yeah, and fire.
and fire, correct?
I approve the,
Okay,
We'll make a motion and vote on this evening.
okay, seconded by Russ.
Mr. Chairman, one question, and second means of egress would be part of it as well, right? In the stipulation.
Well, that will be fine.
Fire marshal will take care of it, and he'll take care of it.
Okay, so it'd be a fire marshal approval in writing
And DEM.
and DEM approval. Okay, so I'm gonna take all those approved, if you vote on this tonight, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Again, Mike, I'm gonna start with you.
Approve the stipulations.
Okay, Keith?
I approve with the stipulations.
Approve with stipulation.
I also approve with stipulation, Russ.
Approve with stipulation.
Ed?
Approved with stipulation.
Okay, congratulations, approve with stipulation.
Good luck.
Next application is owner applicant is Amy Barrett and Justin Peters. Location is AP 304 Lot 12, 2260 Victory Highway. Zone is R5. Applicants are seeking a special use permit to operate an existing campsite business.
Okay, is the applicant here? All right. Please give your full name and address.
Justin Peters, 2260 Victory Highway.
Okay. Okay, raise your right hand. Your address is?
2260 Victory Highway.
Okay. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth in front of the board?
I do.
Okay. Please explain to me in your own words what you'd like to do.
We have created in the past year and a half couple of glamp sites. So they're kind of, fancy campsites. So there's two of them that we rent out via Airbnb and that kind of thing. They are heavy duty canvas tents. They don't come and go. People don't bring their own tents or anything like that. So it's, literally a tent with a couch in it and a bed and that kind of thing. And we rent them out just like we might rent a small cabin or a bedroom or something like that.
Okay, so you are located whereabouts on Victory Highway? 2260.
2260. So it's our biggest abutter is the Max Mays Audubon Society. So we're just south
Kind
of
of
that.
across the street from you to the Ronta Drive.
Okay.
Right.
On the same side as Maxwell Mays.
Yes.
Okay, so you just want to use the two campsites you got, and that's it? You're not going to do any more?
Correct.
But these campsites are definitely, what are they, wood floors?
Yeah, they're the tents are on like wooden platforms. They're not there's nothing,
So this
there's
is
no
like military-
concrete or anything. It's
this is
just a
like military.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, no. This is what we used in the military.
We used them in Boy Scouting too.
Okay,
It's just, it's a wooden deck and it's on top of that.
all right. Okay, and these are located right near your house?
Yep, they're each about 500 feet from our house.
Can you have a set of plans on where they are?
Everything's in your packet. The one thing I would suggest is close attention to the staff report provided. There's some pictures and stuff in there. This is a picture, John's showing a picture of the site plan right now. The black line that goes across is the access from one property onto the other to the campsites. As you can see, the houses are notated. The campsites are kind of far back from the house itself.
Do you own both of the lots?
No, we're the green lot and my in-laws are the yellow.
So you have to cross to your in-laws lot to get to the,
Yes.
is there easement or?
I would assume so. Probably not legally.
No.
I've been doing it because of family. Probably needs to be drawn up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if when the property became ours, if that was included in, or if that was part of the.
If I could jump in, we did a quick search of the deed and there is an easement. It just says subject to an easement of record. So it doesn't spell out. They can pass and repass. However, there's no specificity over who has to maintain it, what it can be used for. It's strictly an easement to get to the next property over.
Yeah, very general.
So if we were to approve this, we'd be approving somebody passing through somebody else's property.
Not necessarily. That's already allowed. What you would be changing.
But for commercial use,
Right.
that's not already allowed.
Right. It wasn't based on a commercial use that I'm assuming at the time that the easement was drawn up. It was simple access to the back lot. But I think it being used for commercial purposes, that's a game changer.
Right.
They can agree, his in-laws and he and his wife, to change the scope of that easement to accommodate this use if they choose to, because they own both parcels.
And I'll also add that that's recommended in the staff report, that there be an easement agreement drawn up between the two parties that runs with the land, because even though the two property owners can be agreeable to this at the moment, there's no guarantees that these two properties will stay in the same ownership forever. So
Correct.
some sort of
Forever
easement
never happened.
agreement should be drawn up that runs with the land and is noticed to any and all future property owners when there's a sale to be done.
Makes sense.
It's gonna have an impact on your in-laws.
All right, now, I'm gonna come right down to that. Why are you doing this?
Why are we doing this? It is
It's a residential district,
yeah.
and you turned it into a campground. Yeah.
Well, I would argue it's not a campground in that people aren't, bringing and hooking up trailers or bringing their own tent and setting them up. It's very much like we had an outbuilding or a cabin and we're renting it out and people are coming to use it. People come, they move into the tent for a day or two and then they leave. So it's been a good, it's been some extra bucks for us, which has been great. I am a teacher and I'm available in the summers, which is when this is happening. And so it's been both rewarding work for me. And it has been some much needed cash influx. And honestly, it's been, the pines, the further one, the green one there, that was actually something I started really just as a project. As I said, I'm a teacher during COVID, teaching from home. I just needed to get outside. And so I just kind of made a little campsite. I think it would be something that my kids could play with and that our friends might enjoy. And then it sort of did a little research and realized that there might be some interest and some demand. There's very little glamping going on in the area, and it's a pretty popular thing around the world. So it was a good opportunity, but it's been a lot of fun. And it's we're on 20 acres, and then most of our abutters are the Audubon up top and to the east, and then down below is a big, huge, I don't want to say it's like 50 acres and there's no house or anything. So it's pretty isolated.
So there's actually 3 tents. So it's 3 units.
So where you see the pines, the bigger square there is you can see 14 by 16 tent. And then the other one is just a little 8 by 10. So that site, the way we rent it out, we say that it sleeps 4 to 6. So if a family had a couple of kids, they might sleep in the smaller tent, but that's one piece. We don't split those up at all.
But you could, if you had 3 couples that wanted to come, you could, 3 separate couples that don't know each other, you could put one in ferns,
no,
one in each of the pines.
We don't. It's really what's more, those are both, you're on top of each other when you're in that area. So we've never done that, and we've never considered it.
Now, these outhouses, what are they?
They are pretty, typical looking outhouses. There's nothing, no poured concrete or anything like that. It's just a structure on top of the ground, and each of them has a self-contained composting toilet in it.
All right, so you don't have a contract with nobody to maintain this.
Correct.
So you maintain it yourself.
I do. We do.
And strictly composting,
Yeah, there's no running water, no power.
no power. Okay, and there's no power to the tents?
Correct.
John, I have a question. The lights, do they need a campground license?
The town.
Yes,
So they need to go to the town council, am I correct?
correct.
So they're kind of putting cart before the horse.
I mean, there was discussion about which avenue to send them
I
down.
mean, if we did approve this, we have to be stipulations that they get a campground license.
Right. I mean, it's a chicken and egg situation. Either they don't get it at the council or they do get it at the council and they have to come back here, or they get it here and they have to go to the council. It's
Right, but this doesn't fit the criteria of a campground.
It does.
It does. So the definition.
It does?
We looked at it.
So many acres.
We looked at it extensively. At first, we were under the impression it might fall under a bed and breakfast, but when we reviewed the definitions for bed and breakfast and the definition for a campground, this falls under the definition of a campground. That's
So-
why we said campground.
So the definition.
Campground was required 25 acres.
So the definition of a campground is one or more lots used for seasonal, overnight, residential occupancy in permanent or semi-permanent structures such as cabins, tents with tent platforms, or similar shelters.
So it doesn't have a minimum acreage.
According to the zoning ordinance, they are allowed to do it as long as they have a special use permit. The only stipulation in the zoning ordinance is that it would also have to get town council approval. That's the only stipulation in the zoning ordinance.
All right, I would like a legal interpretation of this on where it belongs. As a campground or what?
It fits the definition.
Please?
It fits the definition of a campground.
I'm saying this fits the
Yes.
definition of a campground in the
Yes,
town of Coventry.
yes.
Does DEM have any issues regarding composting toilets with commercial campground?
Yep. So that was one of the things that came from the planning meeting last week. So I spoke with a couple of people at DEM, and it's initially the first person I spoke to seemed to think that since these toilets are like self-contained, and this is my thinking too, it really has more to do with what the proper composting part is. But then I was connected to somebody who deals more in the OWTS realm. And he told me that we needed a class 2 designer to, go through that process and get it approved that way. And so we're at the point now where I've got a couple of names and I'm reaching out to see if somebody wants to come take a look and tell me what we actually need. I'm not sure what there's no septic there's no leaching. It's just, it's a floor and you put this device on top of it and that's it. Anyway, I think figuring out with the DEM kind of how to, deal with the material and that kind of thing is great. And I'm eager to do that. Part of what we're doing here is trying to do everything as sustainably as we can. And so that's kind of part of our thing. So I'm interested to learn more.
Now, these people going to bring food or how's that going to?
Yep.
So you have nothing to do.
No, we'll you can, add an extra, we'll bring you a cooler of ice or, you can, that kind of thing, but we're not in the bed and breakfast kind of.
So can I I'm sorry. On the site, you advertise that you offer a pot of chili, cookies, different beverages and stuff like that. So that's different. That's
okay. Yeah. So
Going to need a health, one of you would have to go to the health department and take the schooling.
Yeah.
Food service license.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
How are you handling all the trash that these people don't generate?
It has been going into R2 bins. So we've never had extra that didn't fit in our Coventry.
You'll consider the business.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll pick up the trash.
That's right.
Right.
Yes, you're gonna need to get a commercial industrial.
You might be required to have a private dumpster once you become a commercial enterprise.
Okay, you will be required to do that. Okay, now, to get to your house, you go through your in-laws lot, you go right by house 2248 to get to your house,
Yes.
and it's always been that way?
Yes.
Now, when was your house constructed?
Mid to late 70s, I think.
So it was there before you bought it?
Yes.
Okay, and how about house 2248?
That, I know that house is very old, 1700s or something like that. And I know that in the early 70s, I think it was torn down to the floor and the chimney and kind of rebuilt there. So it's been there for a very long time.
Okay, so you purchased your house knowing that you had to go through the other person's lot to get to it.
My in-laws, yes.
Okay. Now, who owned which house first? Which one?
My in-laws owned their house first.
And then you bought the one in the back.
It was given to my wife, yes.
Who owned that originally?
So, so Max Mays is was my mother-in-law's uncle. And so these two properties, 2248 and 2260, were his. And so he at the, I guess the late 90s gave 2248 to my in-laws. And then when he passed away in 2009, he left 2260 to my mother-in-law, kind of with the understanding that we were going to live there.
Okay.
And then within that year, it was passed to us.
Okay, that 2248, I see you have another, is that another structure right towards 102?
Oh, this small box there,
Yeah.
right on the road?
Right.
No, that's actually, that is another house. It's very small, like the property, meaning. I think back, I don't know when the family that Max and his partner bought this whole property from, I think at that time, the current occupants were able to kind of parcel off that. I don't know the technical thing, but that's a house. That's not part of our property.
Right, but what I'm saying, is that a house that's occupied?
Yes.
It is, yeah.
So you're saying this happened in the 90s?
I don't know when the small parcel became its own thing, but it was, it would have been before that. But my in-laws moved acquired number 14 there in the mid to late 90s, I think, something like that.
I think legal's gonna have to check on this, see if it's illegal subdivision.
That house, the family that lives at that house has actually been there since I was in high school, in that small house.
Long time.
Yeah, thanks.
Right, but the two houses in a way it's subdivided. It did not come in front of us in the 90s.
I know, it's not really relevant to this question.
Please?
It's not relevant to this question.
I think it is.
Yeah, but
Because the right of way is going through it.
Our driveway doesn't go through that small property. the shared driveway that we share with 2248 doesn't go through that small little thing there.
I think,
The
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The way I got this here showing up, you're going right through.
driveway's here, and this is 2248, and then this is us. So our driveway is here.
That's what I'm saying. So you're going through 2248.
Correct, but not this one.
This is the third part.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't, this did not come in front of us to create these two lots.
Right, we would have to see when, does it say, John, when that, little lot was created? What the deed reference is or anything like that on the property card? And the bottom? Yeah,
itself,
you can actually,
but the house is built in 49.
yeah,
You got two houses on one lot here, and it's an illegal lot, as far as I can see.
we
And
have,
yet we're gonna drive right through it.
No, his
that's
lot and his father-in-law's.
That's his father-in-law's.
I know,
That's right, that's right, that's what I'm
But
saying.
the driveway does not go through
A little lot.
the lot that you're asking about. And I know nothing.
Right here, right here.
Look at the picture right now. Move it again, John. There you go. See the little piece out? That's not part of it.
That's nothing to do.
That's broken out all by itself. It's probably got its own lot and
Yeah, you see the orange.
So you're saying that's a whole separate lot?
Yes.
Even that is?
Yeah, that's a different.
So you got three lots there?
Well, I have nothing to do with that house. They're our neighbors. They're lovely.
It's
But that's
simply,
not my,
Huh?
I can't speak to that property.
Okay.
it's simply an abutting property owner. It looks like it's enveloped in with this lot, but it's completely separate. It's no different than this piece of property here.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. But again,
It's its own separate deeded pieces of land with its own plat and lot number. It's completely separate from the application.
okay, it's a separate, but you see you got, if this happened in the 90s, it never came in front of us. So it's
I don't
illegal.
think,
You can't take my word on what happened with that. I have nothing to do with that house.
I
so
agree,
don't
I
know.
agree. But I'm just trying to figure out,
the house was built in 1949,
So
okay,
but we can do a title exam to figure out, I mean, can we go into land evidence? We could do it right now. See when that I would have to go and see when the description for that lot was created. It was probably prior to the zoning ordinance,
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
right? So you want to
On
know that,
2048.
yeah,
2248.
on that little lot. Who was owning?
And
May even be body between. Nineteen 51. Oh, wait, mini intent. Is this the little lot? Little tiny lot? Or is this the big?
the large lot.
Okay, so it's secting there from.
Sorry.
Okay, go back to the next second. Okay, the little lot was created in 1951.
Okay, now how about the larger lot?
The larger lot,
Not the green lot, the yellow lot,
the front lot, you mean?
2248. The house that's on to that lot there. I don't have anything that gives me lot numbers. 2248. Because the green lot has enough frontage and enough land.
I think, I don't know, it's referring to a, meaning and intending to convey and so conveying a portion of the same premises conveyed by Maxwell Mays to Maxwell Mays Trust. Oh, okay, that's the last deed reference. Okay, so he conveyed it into his trust in 1998. But
Yeah.
this looks like it was, the larger parcel was surveyed. The first paragraph references a survey in 1984. That doesn't mean that it didn't exist prior to that. So there was a survey done in 1984.
Now, that may be legal because it was questionable. That might have been in the years where it was questionable zoning. Zoning became effective in 76,
Right.
but there was certain years that it was not.
Well, the little lot was cut out from this lot in 1951.
Okay, so that was fine.
Yeah, and so so this lot existed as a big lot with that parcel prior to 1951. And if there was any subdivision of the two lots,
Yeah, 2248 was probably subdivided from 2260.
I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to figure
I don't
out.
know if that's an
When that
historical.
was.
Well, it doesn't, there's a survey that was recorded of the lot in 1984 of this lot, the front lot,
Right.
and it's referred to as parcel 2. So it's quite, it must have been done correctly. I don't think it really matters because it's one house on one lot and there's more than sufficient area and for both parcels. So I don't think we have to worry about that so much.
2240 was owned by Keith Thurber, and 2248 is owned by Charlie and Allison.
Right.
And it's 0304-01114. So the numbers are here, just
Right, what I'm saying though is,
That both lots are conforming in frontage and area.
no, they're not.
We got,
How much frontage you got on 2248?
So it doesn't appear that 2248 has adequate frontage, but I'll point out that that's not what the application is for. The application is for 22.
I agree, and which is a great lot, but we're gonna allow entrance to it on a non-conforming lot of record and an illegal lot.
But it's not an illegal lot.
Please?
no.
It's not an illegal lot. It wouldn't be
Well, I don't
on the
know.
tax
I don't know if
rolls,
it is or
and it
not.
wouldn't be deeded and referenced on a survey from
No.
1984.
No, we found out that many lots have gone in illegally.
That easement is of record.
The easements of record, I
Yeah.
agree. Because apparently that was part of 2260 was a part 2248 was
You're-
created after.
I mean, you could, 99% of the applications that come before this board are due to the lot being non-conforming. If we follow the logic that they're all illegal, we wouldn't be here right now.
I really,
No, but you can't just make up lots
But there's
just to
no,
make them up. That's what I'm trying to say.
there's no indication that that occurred.
Well, if it occurred when zoning was
your-
effective,
the question
then it was just
before you-
made up.
Okay, the question before you, the criteria you're looking at tonight has nothing to do with how the lot was created. You're just, your scope of
But
inquiry.
I'm allowing access on, it's got to be a approved town of record lot if I'm going to allow
No, it
access.
does not. It's your access, your ingress and egress is through an easement over a lot. Whether or not that lot was created in compliance with the zoning ordinance at the time, or if it's grandfathered, has nothing to do with it. Your question is this adequate ingress and egress to the back lot?
I disagree with you 100%.
Well, she's the lawyer.
Right,
No,
well,
I'm
you-
sorry.
No, I hear you. You're the chairman, but just.
Right,
I
so,
mean, you could also make the determination, if that is your determination, that it's not adequate ingress and egress, that could be made part of your decision.
right,
Okay.
so,
And that could help
And-
steer you towards a decision.
and quite frankly, the easement, we should have a copy of that easement. All we have is that that lot is subject to an easement of record and there's a gravel road, but there's no definition of the meets and bounds of that easement anywhere. We don't know where it really is. It says an easement of record. And there's evidence of easement through the gravel road, but you're not sure if that's actually the easement because many times the road is not on where the easement actually
Right. It could be someplace else
Right.
within that
So
lot.
that's a more troubling question here
Right.
is the ingress and egress. And, you know, it's important.
Where it's located, but also I'm saying where it's located, if it's on an illegal lot,
Right.
I can't give permission for this to become a commercial use
Right.
either way.
Well, it sounds like I've got to do some digging in the land evidence vault to find out
Right.
what the scope of the easement is and the, you know, whether this lot was created in compliance with the zoning ordinance or if it's grandfathered or whatever. There is a survey of record. I don't think the town would allow a recording of a survey without it being conforming, but we'll find out.
Okay.
So I'm happy to do that.
Continue.
So I've got another question.
Yeah, sure.
This road, it goes, you see how it going to that top corner on your property. Does other people have access to this? Yeah.
You looking at this one?
Does that go to another lot where other people have access to this?
No, this road, this driveway, goes, like, there's a little loop where our house is, but then it goes all the way around here. So it's the same road that brings you into the Maxwell Maze property. So when these were all one property, there was this one big road. So
It's a trail.
It's
Okay.
it's grown over at this point.
Right, but is there access to the Mays property or whoever owns that property, we're able to use this road?
Not
Not that you know.
Autobahn people don't come in,
Well, they don't,
wouldn't drive to us and we can't drive into it.
we'd have to check that out. Make sure that,
Oh, I'm telling you, you can't drive through there.
well, not, I'm not saying physically, but somebody,
Can cut a road.
It's barely a trail now. We were in there 20 years ago when they had the big brush fire and it was passable barely then. And that was, like I said, 20 years ago. So when you get past his house, you get past the first loop, even our brush truck would have trouble getting down there. And that's just a 550. It's, like you said, it's been there since Christ was a kid. So
right, but if somebody has access to it, they could use it. If it's in a deed,
oh, that part of it. Okay.
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know what the deed is for Maxwell Mays property as far as how far that goes, and I couldn't tell you if it's
It's not being presented as an
Right.
means of ingress and
Right.
egress. I don't think it's relevant. You're gonna have me look, I'm gonna be stuck in the vault for about a year.
I'm
with all these questions.
I'm sorry?
I'm more concerned about the things that they put there.
Okay, you've asked the
Yeah.
questions. I don't know how. Okay, what was the, let me take a look.
First one's been taken care of.
Okay,
Second one's been addressed.
okay. Okay, technically, it's what we've been actually, an easement agreement between, apparently that is the assessors plot map 304, lot 12, and assessors plot map 304, lot 14. So we gotta check out the assessment, the easement rather, how it's spelled out and where it is, just like our attorney has said. That should be submitted to the planning department for their review. Okay, you realize the private dumpster, the handle trash, and the applicant. All right, so you're gonna get the RIDM approvals for the use of composting toilets. And do you propose any signs?
No. There's
no signs proposed at all.
No, we have a, just, as a way to kind of see our driveway, we have a white sign with a black frog on it, but our property and my in-laws property has always been called Frogmore. So it's just it's kind of like having a Patriots flag at the end of your driveway or something like that. But there's no words. We don't need a sign.
There's no commercial sign.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
Because we're not catering to people that are driving by. It's people
Okay,
that
you will be, if this is approved, excuse me, you will be required to have a dumpster.
Okay.
Okay, because it's commercial use. Any commercial use requires a dumpster.
Uh-huh.
You understand that?
Sure.
Okay. And I would like to go up and take a look at this, and then also I'd like to have our legal team research a lot of this.
Check the next page.
And, okay, that's correct. You're also going to need a letter of approval. This is going to be all subject to review by the Western Coventry Fire Marshal.
Mhm.
Okay. You're going to need that letter of review from them, and
You may
Okay.
have to put some type of fire detection in the tents themselves.
Mhm.
And
CO2.
egress to that area is reasonably tight. You might have to remove a couple of limbs. Or
Oh,
trees.
sure. Yeah, that's easy enough.
And you're also going to need an approval for the food licensing to Rhode Island Department of Health.
If you choose to.
You'd have to get a license, you'd have to get a food safety.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And you're going to need building permits for all the unpermitted structures, tents, outhouses on the property to ensure the safety for occupants.
Those you should have got a permit before you go.
Okay.
Alright. John, is there anything else you think we should?
Nope, that's everything that was listed is
Okay,
the
Jane,
concerns that we had.
there's an
No.
awful lot here that I need you to research.
Well, I think I just have to research the history of the front lot and the easement.
Okay.
right?
Yeah, the easement, we want to know if it's supposed to be located in a certain place.
Yeah,
or-
if it's like all the others, it just says, well, Carrie, you looked and you saw it was just subject to easement of record. Right.
And whether this easement can be used for a commercial use.
Right, well, it's probably pretty bare.
Have you been operating already? You've had guests there?
Yes.
How long?
We had one site last summer. So, from May, through, those months. And then, the second site was ready this spring.
You're not doing it now, though.
I'm sorry.
You're not doing it now.
We do have, it has been going on. Yes, we have been doing it. I think, just to be clear, we weren't trying to, sneak anything. It was more that this felt more like I've said, renting an Airbnb or a VRBO. I'm not an expert, and I'm sure I, could have done some homework to kind of figure out what that means, but it was really more about like, we have some space and it's relatively simple to rent it out and that kind of thing. So I wasn't, we keep using the word commercial use, and I can see that that's kind of making some sense, especially given that it's worked and it has been kind of successful. But the idea wasn't to be a business. It was to utilize some of our space, so the interesting thing about all this is that it's kind of becoming something else as we're going through this process. So,
Okay. Did any other board members have any questions? Okay, I'm going to ask you to take a seat, and I would like to see if there's anybody online or have a question, or anybody else have a question that's here in the audience. John, do you have anybody online? Nope. Okay, I suggest we continue this to next month, so we can go out, take a look at it, and also the legal team can do its research. I need a motion for that.
Mr. Crow, can you please continue that to a date certain of September 7th, please?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we continue this till September 7th.
Second.
Final weekend.
Second.
Mike seconded, the rest made it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it.
Next application is Joshua Spagnola. The location is AP 71 lot 79, 110 Black Rock Road. Zone is R20. Applicant is seeking a dimensional variance to construct an attached 23 by 43 garage 14 feet from the northerly property line where 20 feet is required.
Is the applicant here? Josh, give me your full name and address. Put up your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth in front of this board?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Please explain to me what you'd like to do.
There's an existing garage. There already, it's a stone foundation. It's seen better days. Looking to demolish that, extend the garage further back and closer to the house and connect it to the house. Pull into the garage and the basement door.
Okay.
So there's a lean-to on the existing garage. Take that off. So it's actually the lean-to has been there since I bought the house. So, and that's right up against the fence, the property line. So I'm gonna take that off. And so right now it's up against the property line. So the garage now is going to be 14 feet from the property line. So moving the garage further away.
Okay, the second floor of the garage, you're gonna have plumbing and electrical up there,
Just electrical things, just a couple lights, storage.
but no plumbing.
No
Okay, and you propose to use that for what?
storage and a lot of stuff.
Okay. You're gonna be what, 14 feet from the property line? And everything else conforms, John?
Yes, that's correct. This is actually kind of an outlier in the zone, in the R20 zone, that actually has an acre of land. So they have quite a bit of room. And this is the only setback that would be too small.
So the setbacks all okay.
No, the setback would require a dimensional variance.
The 14,
Correct. But everything else is.
but everything else is okay.
Correct.
I mean, it's just over 2 now, so it's 12 feet. Right. Yard.
Yeah, so
It's a definite improvement.
Yeah.
And he's pushing it back, so.
I agree. Any other board members have any questions on this?
I think it's an improvement.
Okay.
I have one question. Why can't it go anywhere else? What's keeping you from putting it somewhere else on the lot?
I can't hear you.
Because that corner has an existing bulkhead. Existing bulkhead, so that's the only spot where I can get into the basement from the garage. And also just getting rid of the existing garage that's there. I mean, the stone foundation is not as shored up as a poured concrete foundation. So, and that's the only spot on the driveway.
Okay. Any other questions from board members or anybody? John, do you have any questions?
I do.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to take a seat, sir. All right. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to have a question answered or has a question on the application or anything else? Okay. Is there anybody online that has a question? No. Okay. I recommend that we vote on this tonight.
Second, so moved.
Second. Okay, made by Russ. Ross, also seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. Okay, Mike, I'm gonna start with you.
I approve.
Keith,
I approve.
Ross,
Approve.
Chair also approves. Ralph,
Approve.
Ed, approved. Application is approved as presented. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
We got a notice on education. I guess we've all got to go. Terry, can you highlight this for us? Yeah.
So, the division of statewide planning, there've been some changes. There's been some changes made lately. And so what their intentions are that, the zoning board members as well as planning commission members can take some of these required workshops, so that best management practices are addressed, and then conducting land use reviews and standards. Basically, it's a refresher course.
All right, so
It's now saying mandatory education now required for local land use officials. So there's a couple of dates on here. And if you look up at the top corner, where it says workshop 1 and workshop 2.
Excuse me, we don't have it on the agenda.
Okay.
we
I'm
don't have
sorry.
what?
Can't really talk about it. It's not on you.
Right, I would suggest that you address this in an alternative manner. Because it's not on the agenda, it should be on the agenda.
Since it's not on the agenda, but we have to do this before December. Am I correct?
I'm not sure exactly what the hour is.
So I would just recommend if you have any specific questions, you can reach out to the planning director.
or two of us can come and talk to you. And then one gets. Sure.
Okay, it's kind of strange. We can't even talk about this at all.
There is much work.
I'm trying to get the information to the members.
Unfortunately, the law.
Can we put it on next month's agenda?
I think you can just email Barry.
But let's put it on the agenda so that,
Have a single thing on every agenda.
Discussion,
Discussion of the department,
zoning board matters.
right, so.
Housekeeping, whatever you want.
Yeah.
So it covers everything. Yeah.
because I think this is,
Makes sense.
okay.
Thank you, Council.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.